All right, everyone. So I want to talk to you guys about Japanese soldiers and cannibalism. Yes, indeed, Japanese soldiers did in fact cannibalize people. They committed acts of cannibalism when they were exterminating Chinese people in Nanking. They would cannibalize Chinese people. They would take Chinese men and cut off their private parts and eat them. They would eat the private parts of Chinese men, believing that by doing so, they would gain some sort of power, some sort of virility. It was some very sick, pagan, diabolical belief. There was even one story that I read in which a Japanese soldier opened up the body of a Chinese man and ate one of his organs. I believe it was his kidneys or his liver. Pretty demonic, pretty diabolical. After the fall of Singapore to the Japanese captured 40 Indian soldiers. These were Indians who were fighting for the Allies. And the Japanese gave them two choices. Either they fight for the Japanese or they have to be forced to enter Japanese concentration camps. 30,000 of these Indian POWs decided to fight for the Japanese, and the remaining 10,000 were forced to endure all sorts of torture and slavery and cannibalism. The Japanese would eat Indian POWs. And you know what's amazing is that the only judge to refuse to declare the Japanese as guilty after the war was Indian. Yeah. They would send some poor soul to go do some sort of labor. They would say, okay, go do this. And the poor Indian guy would go, and then he would get ambushed, and the soldiers would eat him. It was part of this belief that the Japanese people had, or the Japanese soldiers had. And this idea permeated throughout Japan. It wasn't like, oh, it was just the Japanese soldiers. No, this type of ideology permeated throughout Japan. It was this idea of superiority. That's where this cannibalism was coming from. It was this idea of superiority, that by eating the flesh of their enemies, that they would project dominance over their enemies. And they didn't mind doing this sort of thing. In fact, they thought it was great. There was one story that I read in which a Japanese soldier ate the flesh of an American soldier and described it as delicious. But don't worry, guys. Japan is our friend now. They are our friend. They have Pokemon and karaoke and teriyaki chicken, sushi and wasabi sauce. Oh my God, they have sake and sushi and wasabi. And yeah, they're just amazing, amazing people. And it really goes to show you this whole phenomena in the Western world of like glorifying the Japanese as clean, amazing people. It's really a sickness, I think. Japanese people, they have in Japan, they have this idea that it's great to watch your food get cooked alive before you eat it. Like I've seen these videos on YouTube where they have animals that are still alive on the table, and then you watch as they're killing your animals, and then they're cooking them, and you eat it. And there's this. I mean, you'll see this sort of weird thing in Asia, actually, where people eat animals half alive. I mean, it's really sick. In Japan, they have anime porn, and this anime porn also includes children, like drawings of children. It's pornography for pedophiles, but it's done in the form of anime. It's really demonic. It's really demonic. Yeah, Japan is a sick place. Japan sucks.